Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Indiana is one of 6 states in which children involved in welfare cases are not guaranteed legal representation.
They don't necessarily always feel that they're heard. I mean, we've heard young people say they didn't even know there were court hearings happening.
A bill to remedy that failed at the State House this year, but its author vows to try again. Staffing agencies offer fed-up nursing home workers a way to remain in the profession, but with better hours and higher pay.
We're gaining that power back. We're understanding our worth and knowing our power, and we're negotiating that.
Nationwide, more than 1 in 4 nursing homes are facing worker shortages. And a new report by the Environmental Integrity Project says Indiana has the most polluted rivers and streams in the nation. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, inflation remains at levels not seen in 40 years, and Hoosiers are feeling the effects. Gas remains above $4 a gallon, almost $2 higher than a year ago. Meat prices are up 20% over the past year, and the average price of a new car is up $5,000 since 2020. In the U.S., the inflation rate is at 7.9%. That's more than 4 times higher than in 2020. To try to stifle inflation, the Federal Reserve last week raised interest rates for the first time since 2018. So we're joined now by Christoph Kleiner, an assistant professor of finance at IU's Kelley School of Business. For more, welcome so much to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So as we just heard, Federal Reserve expected to continue to raise rates throughout the year. How does that drive down inflation?
Sure. So the interest rate is kind of the gas and pedal of the economy. So when interest rates are low, we're able to buy more on our credit cards, we're able to buy cars, we're able to buy new houses. Right? That's great, but what it also means is there's pressure on our goods and services. We're going to see an increase in those prices. So when the Federal Reserve steps in, they're going to increase those interest rates on the amount charged on banks. That'll be passed down to us on mortgages and auto loans. And eventually, we'll likely buy a little bit less, and prices will stabilize.
So, prices in general are up, loan rates are going up, mortgage rates are going up. What kind of impact does that have to the average Hoosier, especially those, low income, those who are living paycheck to paycheck?
Sure. So inflation is going to affect us kind of in 2 ways. So the first is that if your wages aren't increasing quite as much as these prices on services and on goods, then we'll just be able to buy less. And that'll especially affect anyone who's already living paycheck to paycheck. In addition, if the Federal Reserve keeps increasing those interest rates, we'll probably have to pay a little bit more on new mortgages and auto loans, and that'll kind of tighten our budget a little bit further.
Rising inflation, is this has anything with the supply and demand issue that we keep hearing about too? Seems like a lot of finger pointing going on.
Sure. So I think for any economist, inflation is mostly about supply and demand. But I think the channels here are kind of important, right? So first, the last few years, we've actually seen the economy kind of booming. And as a result, businesses really haven't been able to fully keep up with demand. In addition, the last couple of years, we've actually gotten a few stimulus checks from the federal government that's increased our ability to buy even more. And then third, especially in regards to energy and gas prices, we've seen a real rise due to the war in Ukraine and Russia.
So do you expect inflation to kind of now level out, or is it going to continue to rise?
So I don't think anyone has a perfect answer here. So here's my guess. This really is about businesses not being able to keep up with demand. Eventually, they'll be able to increase their output. Once that happens, hopefully prices will increase or stabilize. We'll see in a year if that's right.
So is there anything else federal, state governments can do at this point
So it's important to recognize that inflation is just kind of the measure of prices on average for the goods and services we buy each month. And so because prices are largely decided by the businesses that produce those goods, it's difficult for the government to be able to directly impact them. There have been discussions about offering additional cash stimulus to households, but again, that's just also going to increase prices even further as we see an increase in demand. And so that's actually kind of why the Federal Reserve is so important, right? Even though this is an indirect channel by changing interest rates, it's really kind of the best and most effective channel we have in the government.
Professor, thank you so much for your time. We have to leave it there. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Indiana is one of 6 states that doesn't guarantee legal counsel for children in a welfare case. That means in many cases, children who are facing legal issues don't have an attorney representing them in court. Now, one lawmaker is trying to remedy that. Benta Boutier has the story.
The issue is one that's near to Joshua Christian Oswald's heart. He was in the foster care system for 18 years, starting when he was 2 years old. Adopted as an adult aging out in 2020, he feels having a court-appointed attorney as part of his team growing up would have helped him.
And I really wasn't educated on what permanency outcomes could be, whether it's adoption, reunification, or guardianship or kinship, or somebody that is with a trusted, loving adult around me.
Oswald says as a teenager, it was difficult for him to get a hold of legal documents like his birth certificate.
Legal documents for young people are really important, especially as they're about to age out and be on their own and have to navigate life with very little social capital.
And Maggie Stevens with Foster Success, an organization that provides support for foster youth 14 and up, spoke in support of the bill during a January hearing before the Senate Committee on Family and Children's Services.
They don't necessarily always feel that they're heard. I mean, we've heard young people say they didn't even know there were court hearings happening, let alone being given the opportunity to be there. They just found out about them afterwards, that all the other parties came together, spoke about it, and a ruling was made.
Stevens says a legal representative can petition for a young person to give testimony in closed chambers so they don't have to speak in front of their foster family or biological parents. Senate Bill 180's language was amended to request that the bill be assigned to an interim study committee. The reason it was changed was because of projected costs, which lawmakers were reluctant to budget for during a non-budget session. The bill was passed 46-0 in the Senate but died in a House committee. The bill's author, Senator John Ford, who's been in the foster care system himself, says he and other legislators submitted a letter to the Legislative Council asking that the bill be assigned to a study committee. Ford says they're waiting on an answer, which will come in the next couple months. Whether the bill was passed in the House or not has no sway on if the Legislative Council decides to approve the bill for study. Children in Indiana's foster care system have a team of advocates which can include guardian ad litem, court-appointed special advocates, and social workers. A CASA is appointed to advocate for a child's best interests in court cases of abuse or neglect. Kristen Bichet with Monroe County CASA says Ford's bill doesn't consider some important logistical issues, particularly in setting an age limit on who's guaranteed legal representation and how to cover that cost.
There are guidelines on if these attorneys are trained to represent children or in family law, and also if they're required to see the children. One fear we have is that the only time they might see the child is outside the courtroom right before they go in. And that's a concern.
She emphasizes that CASA is not against the bill, but hopes lawmakers consider some of these issues when they look at the bill again. In child welfare cases, judges can appoint legal representation to juveniles, and kids can request counsel themselves. Projections say Senate Bill 180 would cost the state upwards of $11 million and $38 million in local expenses. Oswald says providing legal representation for all children in need of services, especially in the foster care system, is important. He's now Director of Strategic Partnerships for All in Fostering Futures.
I think legal representation can help any young person achieve legal permanency, more so in a timely manner. Because, when you are an attorney, you signed an oath to best represent the wishes of a young person without substituting your own judgment. And it's really important to make sure that young people's voices are heard and their wishes are presented to the court and those wishes to be considered to the court.
He says even younger kids would benefit from the representation. He plans to help with Senate Bill 180 moving forward. Senator Ford says he will bring the issue up in the 2023 legislative session. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Benta Boutier.
We're joined now by Holden Absher for more headlines from around the state. Hi, Holden.
Hi, Joe. Governor Eric Holcomb vetoed a bill Monday that would ban transgender girls from girls' school sports, but the debate is far from over. Fellow Republicans criticized the veto, which put the governor at odds with the conservative cause that has led to similar state laws around the country. But the IHSAA, which has had a transgender regulation in place for more than a decade, hailed the move by the governor. But House Speaker Todd Houston signaled plans to override the veto when the legislature reconvenes on May 24th for Technical Corrections Day. Holcomb did sign the so-called permitless carry bill into law this week, meaning Hoosiers will no longer have to get a permit to carry a handgun in public starting July 1st. The governor defended his decision by expressing his full support for the Second Amendment. He also says people currently barred from carrying in public will still be barred after the law takes effect. The state police was opposed to the bill. Indiana Republican U.S. Senator Mike Braun says the U.S. Supreme Court was wrong to legalize interracial marriage nationwide. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Brandon Smith reports Braun's comments Tuesday came as he discussed what he's looking for as he evaluates Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson.
As the Senate Judiciary Committee holds confirmation hearings for Judge Jackson, Senator Braun says she seems well qualified, and the GOP lawmaker says as he evaluates her record, he wants a justice who won't be an activist.
Stick with interpreting the law. Don't legislate from the bench.
Braun says examples of judicial activism include the landmark decision legalizing abortion. He says the Supreme Court shouldn't homogenize issues nationwide, instead leaving them up to individual states to decide, which extends, when asked, to include interracial marriage.
If you're not wanting the Supreme Court to weigh in on issues like that, you're not going to be able to have your cake and eat it too. I think that's hypocritical.
Braun says he thinks a few Republicans may ultimately vote to confirm Jackson. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Brandon Smith at the State House.
Braun later issued a statement walking back his comments. He said he misunderstood a line of questioning and emphasized that he condemns racism in any form. The new Terre Haute Convention Center is expected to open next month, and city leaders hope the project has a long-term economic impact.
They'll have dinners, at the restaurants. They'll go to nightlife, hopefully take in, a basketball game or a play and things like that. And, we really hope that they'll bring their families too and maybe turn those meetings into staycations.
The convention center will also include a Larry Bird Museum that will open at a later date. The city is hosting a ribbon cutting on April 9th. A senior at Bloomington High School South earned a $100,000 scholarship for a mathematical discovery that could aid in encryption. Pat Bean reports.
Everyone wants to believe their online communications and transactions are secure. The way companies secure them is through cryptographic algorithms which use really large prime numbers as their keys. But there are some numbers that mirror primes.
And that's problematic because these numbers, which are called Carmichael numbers, show up as primes even though they're not actually prime. And that leads to weaker encryption.
So Larson went to work on understanding Carmichael numbers based on a 19th century finding on the large gaps between consecutive prime numbers.
And what it says in particular is that for every x, there exists a prime in between x and 2x. And so I showed that the analogous result is true for Carmichael numbers instead of primes.
And that should make it easier to filter Carmichael numbers out of the equation and make your transactions and communications more secure. Last week, Larson made his presentation at the prestigious Regeneron Science Talent Search in Washington, D.C. And out of the 40 high school seniors competing at the week-long event, Larson placed fourth and earned a $100,000 scholarship. Just making it to the nation's oldest science and math competition was an accomplishment. More than 1,800 seniors entered the talent search this year. Former competitors have gone on to win 13 Nobel Prizes and are leaders in the industry.
I think it's not so surprising that a lot of them became very important scientists, but of course it is still cool seeing yourself in the same competition that all these great scientists were.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Pat Bean.
Larson has been accepted at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, but is waiting to hear from other universities before making his final decision on where to attend college. Officials are investigating the cause of a Monday night fire that destroyed at least 2 Nashville shops. The fire broke out at Wishful Thinking and spread to a sign shop next door. Nashville Town Council President Nancy Crocker says the volunteer fire department was able to respond to the fire at the corner of South Old School Way and Pittman House Lane within minutes after a call from a public restroom attendant.
Were we lucky? Because first of all, it was not a windy night. It was a nice, calm night. And our Nashville Fire Department happened to be at the station for a meeting.
That's all the time we have for headlines this week. Joe, back to you.
All right, thanks, Holden. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Nursing home workers are turning to staffing agencies to find jobs that offer more flexible hours and greater pay. And the Indiana women's basketball team has reached the NCAA Tournament Sweet 16 for the second straight season. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
Public media's role now is more than ever to get the facts out, to be as transparent as possible, and to tell the truth as we know it.
There's a lot of information out there, and it's really hard to know what you can believe, which is why I think people turn to us again and again.
It's public media's role to try to help educate and enlighten.
PBS continues to be one of the most trusted institutions in the country.
We really do go out and meet the moment as it's happening.
We are there at the front lines asking tough questions and getting important and robust answers.
We're playing a major role in combating lies, fake news.
As journalists, we are trying to bring the most fair coverage that we possibly can.
It's about digging deeper and talking to the powerful and especially to the powerless.
Public media is the place where you cut through all the noise.
We move forward by staying true to our values.
And on PBS, news is human.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Indiana has the most polluted rivers and streams of any state. That's according to a new report by the Environmental Integrity Project. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Rebecca Thiel says it shows that after 50 years of the Clean Water Act, we still have a long way to go to protect our waterways.
Indiana has the most miles of rivers and streams that are deemed too polluted to swim in. Eric Schaefer is the executive director of the Environmental Integrity Project. He says the main culprit is the manure running off of large animal farms called concentrated animal feeding operations, a type of pollution the Clean Water Act wasn't designed to handle.
The law is oriented toward dealing with discharges that come out of pipes that you can see and measure. And that's not typically what you get.
Though there are many large livestock farmers in the state, most of the animals are raised under a contract for just a few major companies like Tyson and JBS. Schaefer says those corporations should be held responsible for the problem and regulated like any other industry.
They don't require the big companies to take responsibility for the amount of manure that this kind of factory farm will generate. And that's just fundamentally unfair.
Indiana has monitored more of its rivers and streams in the past decade than many other states, which suggests they could have more polluted waterways than what the data shows. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Rebecca Thiel.
Nursing home staff fed up with low pay and long hours are leaving, but then coming right back. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Justin Hicks explains how these workers are able to make a lot more money for the exact same work.
Monica Cummings is a licensed practical nurse in Elkhart. She says even before COVID, nursing home work was hard and often thankless.
We're not going to work ourselves to death for peanuts anymore. And you know, there are a lot of nurses that have left and said, I don't care how much it pays. I can't do it anymore. And that's sad.
Add COVID challenges to that, and it's easy to see why workers are leaving nursing homes in droves. In Indiana, about 16% of nursing homes report nursing shortages. Nationally, it's about 1 in 4. Many workers like Cummings, who are sticking around, are going to staffing agencies. They offer flexible, short-term contracts and lately pay a lot more. Zena Lowry, another nurse in northern Indiana, says right now she can make roughly $20 an hour more than when she was a nursing home staff member.
We're gaining that power back. We're understanding our worth and knowing our power, and we're negotiating that.
But some nursing home officials say the rising rates they're having to pay staffing agencies amounts to price gouging. Here's Bernie McGinnis, CEO of Majestic Care, a company with long-term care facilities across the Midwest.
To be blunt, I feel taken advantage of. Not even close to a fair market value am I being asked to pay, and that price just is it's unsustainable.
McGinnis says he wants to pay his nurses better and compete with staffing agencies, but he relies on reimbursements from Medicare and Medicaid, which haven't kept up. So he's at a disadvantage.
We've seen our costs go up, 10, 11% each year during this pandemic in a labor standpoint. In some markets, even more. Reimbursement does not go up 10 and 11% a year.
So McGinnis wants lawmakers to step in and do something to control the rising costs. Chris Madden heads the Indianapolis-based staffing agency Networks Connect. He's not opposed to staffing wage regulations, but says that alone won't fix the limited supply and high demand driving up prices.
The villain is COVID. the villain is COVID here, and it's just the silent villain that you can't talk to, you can't reason with, and we are just nobody knows what to do.
Madden says staffing agencies have to compete against each other for fewer nurses, demanding bigger paychecks.
Can you blame them? They're just saying, if this is what the market's paying, then I want to get paid that too. They're not holding their care. They're just saying, I want to be compensated for it.
John Bobliss researches economics and geriatric care at Miami University in Ohio. He says the Federal CARES Act money going to nursing homes has helped some weather recent spikes in labor costs. But that's not sustainable.
If this continues on this way, you will see a large number of nursing homes that may have to declare bankruptcy. Or the other option is politically that you have to increase reimbursement, and a lot of states don't want to do that.
A handful of states, including Minnesota and Massachusetts, have passed laws putting wage caps on how much staffing agencies can pay nurses. But in Indiana, the legislative session has passed, and lawmakers didn't discuss any solutions. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Justin Hicks.
Some officials in Louisville are trying to get the governors of Indiana and Kentucky to use federal funds to remove tolls on the Riverlink bridges across the Ohio River. Kayan Tara has this report.
Riverlink tolling is a place on 3 bridges connecting Louisville Metro and southern Indiana. One of the council members sponsoring the bill, David James, said that while infrastructure funds are available, the resolution hopes to ask the Indiana and Kentucky governors to change the toll payments on the 3 bridges.
So this is a resolution asking the governors to consider, along with the Northern Kentucky Bridge, to think about using some of the infrastructure funding to either reduce, modify, eliminate tolls.
James is one of 7 Metro Council members sponsoring this bipartisan effort.
I have no idea what the outcome will be. Politics is a contact sport, so we'll see how it turns out.
The 3 bridges this would affect are the Abraham Lincoln Bridge and the John F. Kennedy Memorial Bridge, the I-65 North and South bridges over the Ohio River, and the Lewis and Clark Bridge, which connects Prospect, Kentucky, and Utica, Indiana. The move comes weeks after Kentucky and Ohio announced a plan to seek up to $2 billion for a toll-free bridge near the Brent Spencer Bridge between Cincinnati and Covington. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Kayan Tara.
And the Indiana women's basketball team is in the NCAA Sweet 16 for the 2nd straight season. Now this time they will be facing perhaps the game's most storied program. Pat Bean reports.
Indiana's reward for reaching the Sweet 16 Saturday is a date with number 2 seed Connecticut, less than 90 minutes from the Huskies campus. Connecticut has won a record 11 NCAA championships and is playing in a record 28th straight Sweet 16. IU is thrilled to be making back-to-back appearances.
And I remember 4 years ago we were just struggling to even get in the tournament, and then we got that win, and it was huge for us. So now to see, us get to the Sweet 16 2 years in a row, it's just really special.
Berger is one of the prime reasons playing in the postseason is becoming commonplace for IU. She and teammate Allie Patberg are tied for the most victories by a Hoosier with 90. They've led IU to the NCAA tournament in 3 of the past 4 seasons. It would be 4 straight, but the 2020 tournament was canceled due to the pandemic.
There's nobody that deserves it more than Allie Papberg. Obviously, because of the player she is and what she's done for this program. You know, the person she is off the court, you know, we talk about it all the time, but it really is true. Just how she's, you know, taken every single one of us under her wing and allowed us to have individual success.
The duo were instrumental in IU's 1-point win over Princeton in the second round Monday night. Berger hit the go-ahead basket with 28 seconds left, and Papberg followed with a game-sealing steal. Like Indiana, UConn had a battle on its hands in the second round. The second-seeded Huskies outlasted 7th-seed Central Florida 52-47. It's an early round matchup UConn traditionally would win in a blowout.
Over the years, you know, we've kind of made it seem commonplace, but, you know, if you look around the country, these games are supposed to be difficult. They're supposed to be tough.
Third-seeded Indiana is hoping to make this one tough for UConn, too.
We've been in a lot of close games. And as I said, you know, if there's time on the clock, we're always going to give ourselves a chance.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Pat Beam.
Saturday's game tips off at 2 p.m. on ESPN. And that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.